Good evening.
Good evening. Ken, you
So,
survived that episode.
it was brutal to say the least. I can't wait to talk about it. Cannot wait. How was your week besides that?
You know what? I think was last week the week that we watched it. Was that also the same week my tooth cracked, or was that the week prior? I can't
I think that was
remember.
last week. I think that was last week.
Yeah, so it's been good. Things have been settling down a little bit. I've been having a good time. How about yourself? It sounds like you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I won something cool last night. I can see it on the camera here.
You
The
won that?
X Nope. Yeah, we've been talking about, how we've been talking about I've been talking about getting a Switch. And
Yeah.
so our youth group had a fundraiser. And one of the we do bingo fundraisers, and it's about raising money, it's not about winning anything, but, somebody donated this thing to the cause, and so we were selling raffle tickets, and, I bought some, my wife bought some, and then so I was there last night, and they were doing the bingo thing in the auditorium, and I'm out in the foyer, I'm out in the lobby with the other safety team guys because 'cause I'm on safety team. And, my daughter comes running out. She's like, "Hey, you won, you won." I'm like, "Yeah, right." I'm thinking, "Yeah, she's gonna try to get me in there and then embarrass me because I think I won, but I really didn't. I'm gonna go up and grab it, and be like, hey, he's gonna be like, youth pastor is gonna be like, 'This isn't yours. What are you doing?'" So, I was like, "Nah, I don't think so." And then I looked, I could see inside the auditorium, and the youth pastor was up on the stage looking right at me. I'm like, "Maybe I did win." So, I walk in there, everyone's clapping and stuff. I still wasn't convinced until I got up on the stage and he handed me the thing. But I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So, I mean, this thing's like $600 and somebody donated
Wow.
it for this cause. So, like, well, we're gonna try it out. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet or anything, but we'll fire it up and see what this baby can do. But yeah, it should be fun. Um, and I know my kids are gonna be excited about it, and everyone's gonna come over and play, and I'm gonna be really popular. So that'll be great.
I like know nobody who wins things. So do you know people that actually win things?
There's certain people that I've come across, like, we have some people at our church, like, they always win stuff, but they weren't there last night, so I'm like, "Well, maybe that's why I won." But
Yeah.
I never in a million years thought I would win. So, I'm just not one of those people that usually wins things. So I was really surprised, and I was pleasantly surprised, but yes, I'm looking forward to, trying this thing out, and hopefully next week I'll have some good news to report on that. So
Yeah. I think the last time the most money I ever won was like 280 something dollars on like a airplane where one of the they're not stewardess anymore. That's not the correct word. Well, a male stewardess said, "Okay, everyone put $1 in a bag." And then, okay, I threw $1 in the bag and you write your seat number on the dollar. And he shook the bag up of all these dollars. There's like $200,
huh.
something like that. And he reaches in, he pulls it up, and I'll use the word male stewardess because you can probably imply about what he was a little bit like. But he gave me the sassy, like, that guy won kind of look. And
Wow.
I
Pretty
was on
good.
my way on a vacation to see. I was down here coming to see my grandparents on vacation, and I had like $280 more in my pocket. That was nice.
Hey, even if it comes from a sassy stewardess, male stewardess, hey, why not?
Yeah,
It's
so that
$280. That's great.
so
But
you know what? I bet your pastor isn't as sassy as a male stewardess.
no, not quite, not quite. But it's
Is it a
actually
stewardess or a flight attendant? What's less politically correct? Stewardess, right?
probably stewardess. Yeah, yeah. I would say that's probably the lesser. But of course, this week also, was the start of the Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
And that was that's been pretty cool to watch. And Dave, I found a video that I think would be very educational and helpful to our viewers to show them what's been going on in the Winter Olympics so far. And so I'd like to show that video right now. How about that? How about that? I'll tell you, there's some crazy stuff going on in the Olympics
Uh,
this year.
oh, the
Woo!
horses on ice skates, the the
Uh,
the 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 the
there's
piano.
some
I don't even know
very
what's going on in
creative
pianos.
very creative games this year, I'll tell you.
Yeah, the
But,
break dancing on with ice skates on.
yeah,
That
that's a new sport, Dave. That's a new sport. So, as what now the unfortunate problem, with the, bobsled, prayers for their families, but,
prayers to their
I'm sure they'll
families.
be okay. So,
Oh, man.
but no,
Here I
that's,
am.
just a taste of what's been going on in the Olympics this
Oh,
year.
well, I actually watched the American men's hockey team today. USA pulled out the dub.
Mm,
I've watched curling and I've watched the hockey, and that's it because I'm not gonna watch any of the other stuff. I don't need to. I watched like a couple of the pair skating stuff, and all the other things are on way too early. But I don't. I've been loving the Olympics. If they had horses on ice skates, I think I'd watch even more.
yeah,
Truly, they're. I
yeah.
just want to see America get the dubs. I don't know about you, but on social media, it's filled with just like ridiculous, like patriotic America stuff, which is like bombers flying over and aircraft carriers and
Yeah.
athletes just being crazy. And I've been all about that. I'm all about this super awesome, silly patriotic stuff. And I've been enjoying the memes for the Olympics. There's got to get some solid memes out of Olympics this year.
I'll tell you
But
the I think the one of the craziest, things that I've watched is the downhill skiing. I mean, those guys are going and girls are going like 80 miles an hour on skis, you know?
yeah,
And I don't know if you saw the thing with Lindsey Vonn, and that was tough, but, I guess her dad said she's done. Her career's done. She's not gonna try to do it again. I mean, this is the second time she had a major crack up. But,
yeah,
just watching those guys come down there and the girls, it's like, you know, all they're wearing is a skin tight suit. That's it. It's not no padding, no nothing, it's for aerodynamics, but it's like one slip up, it's not like they're traveling on nice soft snow. That stuff's hard packed,
yep.
it's like hitting concrete if you go down. And that to me is the craziest sport out of all of them because
Well,
there's like no,
they're on a sled that's about that tall on blades that are super sharp and super thin, and they're going like 80 miles an hour. And
yeah,
sometimes they're a totally horizontal
yeah,
or yeah. And you tumble off, you like move the wrong way. Yeah, those suits are going to be eaten up by the friction, and you're going to
yeah.
have you're just anyway.
I
It's
mean,
it's horrific.
there's 1,000 things that could go wrong that are out of your control, that you can't
Mhm.
control, that could set you off, and, you land the wrong way, yikes. So, yeah, it's that to me was crazy. I saw, I've watched the snowboarding stuff, that's pretty cool, that's always
That's
cool to see
cool.
those guys. It's like, the hard part isn't doing all those twists and stuff in the air, the hard part's landing correctly, so you don't, like, go in a tumble. Um but it's like that to me just amazes me that they do that stuff.
So you're originally from New England.
Another
Did you
one
guys do a lot of snow sports stuff growing up?
me personally, I mean, I never got into skiing much. I did a little bit of skiing, not a whole lot. I was never really big into the outdoor sports anyway because of it was cold and I didn't like
Yeah.
that. But I mean, sledding, we'd stand up on our sleds like we were snowboarding. I never did snowboarding. Um, but I can say that stuff like that, I think I would, if I could go up there and do it and then come back here, I'd probably enjoy some of it. In fact, I never snowmobiled until I moved to Florida, and then went back
Huh.
up there and snowmobiled, so, it's fun when you don't live in it, and you can just enjoy
Yeah.
it and then go home again, but, um, yeah, I mean, that obviously that stuff is big up there, and some people are really big into it, but no, I've enjoyed watching, these different things. And yeah, I'm not really big into the ice skating thing. I feel like the ice skating has really it's not as cool as it used to be. I mean, those guys used to do a lot more stuff, jumps in the air and everything else and crazy stuff. I feel like it's more subdued now for some reason. Like, they're not nearly as daring as they used to be. It's more like, ballet on ice skates, which is, to me, kinda boring,
Ken, you
but
know what
I know
that a lot of
gotta have
people didn't have growing up with the Olympics? You had the
what.
ultimate rivalry in the Olympics that you got to see every 4 years, every 2 years.
Yeah,
Because when the United States and the Soviet Union went head to head, they
yeah,
were just that was like it wasn't just like, "I love my country." It was like, kick some commie butt.
yeah, yeah,
And that's awesome. There was a video going around of, like, the 1980 something Olympics, and they have because it's the Soviet Union is the USSR, and then there's some country in the middle, and then there's the USA, and you see the Soviet team, they're all in, like, Soviet gear with conscript shirt jackets on and thick clothing and
mhm,
the Ushunkas, that's just and then some other team, who cares who they are, and then the US team, and they're in Stetson white cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and it's like, you know what? If you're gonna full send on your patriotism, the Soviets full sended and the US full sended. So you got Soviet conscripts and American cowboys at the
yeah,
Olympics. I was going like, yeah, we gotta do that. There's nothing like that anymore. Um,
no. I feel
you
like that
know,
some of that competition has disappeared. Um, even I remember ice skating, you had people like Scott Hamilton. I don't know if you remember him,
I
but
know who that is.
he was, big time and doing all kinds of stuff. And I remember him, as a kid, he had that receding hairline. And like when you skate, like his hair was like back. And I always imagine his hairline just like moving back further and further, which I think it did. Then each Olympics, he'd come back and his hairline was a little higher. I don't know if it's because he skated so fast or he's just losing his hair, but
Well, I
it's mind blowing.
remember my mom was really into like that. She loved Michelle Kwan. Of
Mhm.
course, Brian Boitano was a big one back in the 90s. He
Yeah.
was so big that South Park made a song like for him for their movie that came out in the 90s. What would Brian Boitano do? And
Mhm.
he of course eventually did a whole ice show to his own theme song that they made up for him. Oh, I see that name. Okay, so I have read
Oh,
Tonya
yes.
Harding, and no one under the age of 35 knows who this is. Like,
Oh,
nobody.
yeah. Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
And
Oh,
so
yes.
I will say but I'll say to someone older, like, "Oh, yeah, they Tonya Harding that person, didn't they?" The older people will laugh, and everyone who's like Gen Z, you guys don't know who this is.
Yeah.
We grew up Ken and I grew up in the real America where people kneecapped each other.
Oh, yeah. That was the American dream, is just go kneecap your opponent, and then still get to go to the Olympics afterwards. But yeah, Tanya Harding, she bombed pretty hard in that Olympics, but, um
Yeah.
and
Well,
they had Nancy Kerrigan on, Saturday Night Live, and I remember watching that episode, I'm like, "Wow, she's a great skater, but she's a horrible actress." But, it was funny though, it was still funny. But,
well, my plan, Ken, is to watch The Miracle on Ice tomorrow, and so I'll give a little report on that. I think it's relevant. We got the hockey games going on for the Olympics and Olympics. I haven't seen that movie in who knows how long. And here you go. Here's your fun fact about the Olympics. The chant USA originates from that Olympics.
okay,
They weren't saying USA, USA until the US hockey team shows up with USA on their jerseys.
okay.
And so that's where it started. So, like, even recently, that team was at the White House, and Trump says, I try to pretend it was me who invented it, but it was you guys that actually are the ones who that started with. So I was reading something online. You can only believe half of what you read online. And it was, I guess, some person from overseas saying, when Americans chant USA, it is one of the most annoying things to hear. I was
Nope.
thinking, well, let me tell you some advice. Get good.
Yeah, exactly. There you
That's
go.
just, you got to get good. Otherwise, you're going to
Well,
have to hear those chants.
Dave, speaking of good, we gotta move into our next segment to talk about something really bad. So,
Here
let's,
we go.
let's hit it. boy. Dave, where do we start? Where do we start? Viewers, we are reviewing Starfleet Academy episode 5 tonight, and I'll tell you, it was a doozy. It was far worse than I could have possibly imagined. Um,
It,
before we get into this, I found a special video. It's a Starfleet recruitment video, and I
oh,
think we should share it because it will explain a lot.
Do you want to explore strange new worlds? Do you want to make a difference in our galaxy? Are you gay, bi, genderqueer, BIPOC, or extremely obese? Join Starfleet. Starfleet Academy is currently looking for candidates who meet our extremely low admission standards. Forget James T. Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard. Those guys are yesterday's news. And they're white. The Starfleet of today is built on the backs of neurodivergent lesbians. Their very large backs. To qualify for Starfleet, you must meet our physical standards by being at least 300 pounds. You must have at least one, preferably more, handicap or mental illness. Wearing glasses is a plus, even though we eliminated blindness 700 years ago. They just make you look smart, okay? Not too bright? No problem. The Academy is looking for people with an IQ of 70 or less.
I think I swallowed my com badge.
Already?
But most of all, we're looking for people who hate straight white males. Because diversity is the future, and the future is Starfleet. Officer commission not guaranteed upon graduation. Financial aid is available unless you are white. Individual experiences may vary. Starfleet is an equal opportunity employer unless you are white. Obese cadets may not be small enough to fit through the holodeck doors. Also, we hate white people.
oh, Babylon B. Oh, it's so good, it's painful.
It's the thing is, ironically, everything they said was true.
Where's the lie?
It's not even a joke. Not even a joke. Wow. Well, this episode centered around Sam the hologram.
The
Sam,
worst character. Now,
yeah,
is she the
she's-
worst character?
I think after that episode, yeah. I mean, when I found myself longing for the voice of the hybrid Klingon there, yeah, she's definitely the worst character.
I don't know.
Um,
It's a tie between her and Jaden.
Oh, you mean skirt wearing Jaden?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
The Klingon cadet wearing a skirt? Is that the one
We'll
you're
get
talking
to that.
about? Sheesh. Yeah. Honestly, Dave, this episode just made me angry. I'm like, this episode truly hit rock bottom, and I don't know if it can get worse than this. If it can, they'll find a way to do it. But so let's just give a quick runabout what it was about. So Sam is researching Ben Sisko, who was commander of Deep Space Nine, and looking into his disappearance and maybe trying to find out what happened to him. Well, Sam, I can tell you what happened to him. Did you watch DS9, the last episode? It says exactly what happened to him. The whole storyline here made no sense. There was a hologram a historical hologram of Jake, Sisko's son, and he seems to be clueless too as to what happened to his dad. I guess he didn't see the episode either. But at the end of the episode, nothing was solved. There was no okay, we figured out what happened.
Well,
Um,
no, she is totally fine who she is. She doesn't need to change. You go, girl boss moment. The end.
yeah, that's pretty
That's
much it.
Pretty much it.
And she is by far the dumbest character, the character of lowest intelligence in the series. And being a hologram, she's like, I have to learn this, learn that. No, you don't. Just
No.
program this hologram. She should be the
And-
smartest one in the bunch. And yet she's
And
the dumbest.
just to a note what Ken is saying about being a program, one of the plot points is that Caleb hacks her program and is able to make her drunk. And
Yeah,
then he gives her the keys to make her drunk. So if her program is that easy to hack, how can't she just say, "Hey, look, I'm going to drop 200 IQ into my brain right now," and so I'm going to learn this whole class and just like that. And so instead she gets a drunk. Like, this button is the equivalent of taking a shot. And so she hits it like 10 times and she gets super drunk. She
This took
then
place. This took place at the bar that Ben Sisko supposedly went to 800 years ago. I mean, that bar's been there for 800 years.
that gay bar has been there for
The
800
gay
years.
bar, yes, with the drag queen, wait person. So that looked just like the drag queens we have today, apparently. So
Yeah. So the very beginning of the show is Sam breaks the fourth wall.
yes,
And she's talking to you, the audience, and that's the whole episode is totally off the wall. I can't think, did any other Star Trek have a break the fourth wall moment? Maybe.
no,
Did
I don't think
Voyager
so.
have one? Or Deep Space Nine? Next Gen did not.
No, I've never seen that. So it's like she's talking as if she's talking to a camera, but nobody else sees the camera. So she's just talking to the wall. I mean, it's like it didn't make any sense. It made no sense at all.
So
And then the fireworks that appear out of nowhere, the cheap graphics. It's like, what was that all about? It doesn't make any sense.
And the one guy, when he eats bananas, throws up sparkles. We learned that. That's just like a one-off. The other Jaden ends up.
Dave,
yeah.
I sat there and I was like this when he did that. I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Now,
and they
you want
actually
to know one of the best things that came out of this? Is I uploaded the 2 videos. You could see them, the shorts on the channel, everybody. I uploaded the 2 shorts, and there was more shorts, but I saved those for just us. I uploaded those 2 shorts. They went viral. We hit 1,200 a piece on those and got likes from all over and tons and a handful of comments. Because you weren't the only one who said, don't do this to Sisko. And people were agreeing. They were just completely with you there. So just to sum up the plot, Sam is in Starfleet. She is an emissary on behalf of the hologram people, the photonic people. They're seeing if they could trust people that are organic, and she's reporting to them as it goes on. And because she is not good at it, she wants to learn how to be an emissary. The way to learn to be an emissary in her people is she finds out about Sisko. And so she looks into him. Now, Ken, I have to ask you something. When you are doing biographical research, how often do you go to the kids section of the bookstore to buy a book on, say you were learning, it's the 250th anniversary of our country. When's the last time you went to the kids section and bought a book on George Washington?
Well, I pretty much what I usually do, I don't even buy a book. I just start scribbling stuff nonsensically on a piece of paper. And that answers all my questions.
And so she bought a kid's book on Sisko. Coincidentally or conveniently, the man from New Orleans, he has a whole museum for him in San Francisco. That checks out. And she learns that he has become a prophet who they can't draw a picture of. Spoiler alert, the religion like that in the real world is Islam. And he becomes a religious figure. And then if I was listening to it, she mocks their faith even. She goes like, you guys believe in this stuff, right?
Oh, my word. The scene of her walking into the Bajoran monastery, whatever it is, and she just like, how insensitive can you be? How much of a jerk can you be to do what she did? And it's like, I was like dumbfounded. Not to mention the Bajoran, or was it the Bajoran that asked her if she's I don't know. She used the term. I'm like, that's not what they're called. They're called Bajorans. He said something like, are you a Bajor or something stupid like that. I'm like, that's not how they talk. So apparently he never watched DS9 either. But yeah, that scene was, I mean, of course the whole thing was cringe worthy.
Oh,
but that scene was just like ridiculous. She just goes in there and makes a mockery of their faith right in front of them. I was like, oh my gosh.
So she does that. She continues to see, she learns from him to be an emissary, but she really doesn't. She's like, I'm going to be like you. And instead she learns that I don't need to change. I'm just going to be myself. And
yes, I'm going to continue to talk with and sound like I have a full mouth of spit every time I talk.
She can't say words. What was the
No.
one word she said that literally was not how that word's pronounced?
Yeah, half the words she said, you couldn't understand what she was saying.
Yeah.
And
So anyway, there's a subplot here where while she's doing this and she's being told she needs to be an emissary by her people, she's supposed to get into one of these classes. This class is about like secret knowledge of the Federation, and the teacher is ends up being Drax from Deep Space Nine, just much in the
Dax, yeah,
future.
the Trill, she's the Dax character, which
She's Dax from Deep Space Nine, which Trill don't live to be 1,000+ years old. So this Dax, who is somehow still alive, is like 1,200 years old at this point, which is
yeah,
about 500 or 400 years past the regular expiration date. And
details, Dave,
and
details.
um and so you find that out, and of course it's played by the writer of the episode who wrote this episode.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be funny, and instead it was terrible.
dumb. Yeah,
Ken and I we've talked about this, where something is so bad it's funny again. This just was so bad that the only reason I didn't turn it off was because we're going to be talking about it.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
and I'll say this right now, just so everyone hears it, because yes, we have committed ourselves to watching this entire season, and we fully intend, no matter how painful it is, to follow through. But I am saying this right now: if by some miracle they actually are stupid enough to go to season 2, I ain't watching it. Okay, we're not reviewing it. We're gonna do something else. I'm not go. I'm gonna lose my mind if I have to do that. There's no way. So
so
I'm just saying that right
ultimately,
now.
let me just wrap up the episode review. So I guess the Bajoran religion is now like Islam in space, except you're making fun of it. Sam is a there was neurotic. I always watched his take on it. Neurotic was like, isn't it interesting that a black woman beat up 2 Asian chicks, which is a problem out in California right now? It's like, that's just casual. He's like, yeah, this is not a good idea, not a good look, you guys, making her violent. That's
Yeah,
interesting choice.
yeah,
And let's see what else. I'm trying to think what else there is. Getting drunk, going to a gay bar. There was a subplot with the commander of the war college, and he was totally worthless as a man.
yeah. He's a complete idiot, and it's no wonder why his cadets are so they misbehave so badly and have such bad attitudes because they
Yeah.
follow him as a leader. That's He's the he's the biggest idiot among all of them when it
Well,
comes, and he's supposed to be the guy in charge of training these cadets to be soldiers in
well, you
time
know
of
why
war.
he's an idiot? Because
He's a
he's the white
complete
man.
Well, of course, yeah, he's a white man, so he's automatically a moron.
Yeah.
Um, as they all are on the show. They're either gay or they're a moron or whatever, but none of them are authoritative.
Yeah. And then,
And
of
it's just
course,
eye
Jaden has a
rolling.
subplot as well, where the Klingon who was raised by a polycule 2 dad family who is not a warrior, he ends up getting in a relationship with one of the war cadet guys, another white guy who's gay, and he's in a dress.
Uh,
It's just it
yeah,
just doesn't make any sense to me at all. They have no value of it. They are trying to push their agendas. I hate to say, I feel like I'm beating this drum every week. They push the agenda. They don't love Star Trek. In fact, I was looking into it. I was telling Kenneth before we rolled here. They have gone out of their way to not contact any of the original writers from the Next Gen and Voyager and Deep Space Nine. They don't want to talk to them, and
no.
they are just running this into the ground. And of course, I forgot to add, Stephen Colbert made a cameo, and it's just, and they made some. I think it was a sex joke, to be honest.
Yeah, it was an off-color sex joke, and it's like,
Um, and his voice is so gratingly annoying.
yeah, yeah.
It's just terrible.
And Dave, whatever happened to Caleb's mom? We haven't heard about her since episode 2. It's like they just totally forgot what the show was about. The writers forgot about what their own show was about.
Well,
So
if
Caleb's been pushed into the background. Haven't heard one peep about him looking for his mom since episode 2. And,
I don't
and
I don't
he's
know that they I don't so the new Trek has does not have like one-off episodes, right? You go to Next Generation, you can watch an episode in season 2 and watch one in season 4, and they're not they're the crew is of course related, but it's a whole story completed done. You could watch it, not watch it for 2 years, watch an episode from a different season, feel
yeah,
satisfied, not watch it again for 10 years and watch another episode.
yeah,
New Trek has overarching stories. And there's the good thing to that is it keeps it interesting, might help fans come back. The bad thing to that is you miss something, you miss it. But then you have this episode where it has nothing to do with the story that they've been trying to weave terribly. And it's just bad. It's just bad.
yeah,
So just to finish up my thoughts on it, you're if you want to have the socialist leftist agenda, it's there. They don't even do a good job of pushing it. Sam is one of they continue to ruin all the characters. This hologram character is terrible. Jaden is even worse than he was in the prior episode with the debate team for Klingon.
yeah,
And I don't know where they're if they know where they're going. Holly Hunter's character, who's the dean or the captain, she is just annoying and
yeah,
used to lay down everywhere and just spin. And it's literally just about a food of like high school a show about high school hijinks and eating.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's
laying and circling in their chairs and
there's nothing. It's funny because there's like I'll give an example. In Strange New Worlds, I think it's season 2. There's the musical episode. We talked
I
about
love
that a
that
little
one.
bit, and that that episode annoys me because I'm like, you have 10 episodes per season. Why are you throwing this away? It annoys me, even makes me a little angry, but I can appreciate the talent that's in that episode because most of the cast members have a background in Broadway and they're showing off. That's what it's about,
Yeah,
showing off, and that's fine. And the funny thing is, Ethan Peck, who plays Spock, has no background in that, but yet he does a pretty good voice, a singing
he's the
voice.
best one.
I can appreciate that, even if I don't necessarily like it. This show, I don't like it, and there's nothing to appreciate. There's no talent to appreciate. I can even appreciate to a degree Wicked. That there's talent in Wicked, even though I think the movie itself was stupid. But there's talent. This show, there's nothing to appreciate. There's nothing redeemable in it. And I think, I've seen a few reviews where people are like, "Oh, I like this show." I'm like, "So how bad is your brain rotted at this point?" Because if you surround yourself with bad entertainment, you're that's gonna be your gauge to go by. And you can tell that's what these people are. You know, if years ago I said, I'm not drinking soda anymore, I'm not drinking any of that stuff, and trying to drink more pure stuff, water and real fruit juice and stuff. And I'll tell you what, Dave, if you were to hand me a Coke today and I took a sip, I would find it disgusting because I've done
Yeah.
that because I'm used to not having it. And so this is like the same way. When you're in the middle of this stuff, it's like you get used to it and you think this is actually good. You get away from it and watch some actual good stuff and then go back to this. You're like, this stuff is crap. This is just
Yeah.
awful. So, if I was a board member, if I was put in charge of Paramount today, I would host a catered dinner, have all the executives there, do a meet and greet. Hey, how you doing? Get to know everybody. And oh, by the way, which one of you guys, okayed Starfleet Academy? Oh, you and you. Oh, it's nice to meet you. How you doing? You're fired. Get out. That
Yeah.
would be what I would do immediately. And I will make sure you never work in this industry again. I will blacklist you to everybody I know because you suck and you're costing us millions of dollars. Um, that's how I would handle that. I would stop the show right now. I would not air another episode. I would take it off the streaming platform and just pretend it never existed. I mean,
Yeah.
why wait till episode 10 to announce you're not going to come back? Because we know they're not going to come back. There's no
No
way they're going
way.
to come back. So just get it over with now because they've become the laughing stock. I mean, I'm reading stuff where people are watching the show just to bash it on social media because they did. It's like It's like watching that Asian guy that was on American Idol, the one that was really bad, he became
Oh,
famous, and people go and they just wanna hear him sing because he's that bad. And that's what this show has become. It's become the Asian guy in Star Trek that can't sing, and, it's just awful. But, kinda moving on from this, Dave, I had asked you a question, a couple days ago, I think, because I wanted to kind of get your feedback, and I'll give you my feedback. If Paramount had come to you in the beginning and said, "Hey, Dave, we want you to develop Starfleet Academy, takes place after the burn, in this era. Here you go, run with it. You have no choice." What would you do?
oh. See, when we talked about this off screen, I didn't know that there had to be a during after the burn.
All right, then then
So,
then just yeah, don't go with the burn then. I went with the
all
burn on
right.
my end, so we'll
So,
see where we are.
so this is I hate the burn storyline. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. So I was thinking, okay, what were the rules that we talked about? It has to be like a an education, like they're in the training show. So I thought about when it would take place, and I was thinking, what would make the fans the most happy? Where can you explore? And so I have my Starfleet Academy happening right before, during, and right after the Dominion War.
okay.
And so here they are, you got these kids, they're going to school to become Starfleet Academy cadets and to become going to Starfleet. And so it starts right before the craziness of the Dominion invades. So the first season is kind of plucky and warm, but you hear rumblings of something's happening out at Deep Space Nine. There is the incursions, and there's the final episode, of course, is when the Klingon Empire and the Federation go to war temporarily.
Mm,
And
yeah,
what you have going on, and that's the first season. The second season, the last episode is you see the two sides going at war, and the season ends. And then the next season picks up right as it's happening, and then finally by episode 2, the piece is called, and then they're mining in front of the wormhole out in front of
mhm,
Deep Space Nine. And then the second season, the war picks up. The third season, the war gets worse. The fourth season, the war gets even worse and more desperate. And the and it ends. And then the fifth season, of course, is the cleanup. And so I came up with these characters just for doing it. So this takes place like at the same time when Cisco is out there. I guess Kirk would still be on the Enterprise. All this is going on. So here are my students at the Klingon at Starfleet Academy. You have to have a Kirk-like character. He's your hotshot, middle America. He's too confident for his own good, but he is just like Kirk, and he's like Riker. He's that
mhm,
kind of guy.
yeah,
You have as the another main character, and I did this for the people who love Star Trek. I make him a descendant of McCoy. So McCoy is like great grandpa back there. He's one of the many of them. So he's a medical officer. That's what he's going for. The next one, because we're going classic here, I picked a Vulcan. He'll be the helmsman. You had Spock, who's a science officer. You had Tuvok, who was the attack guy. This
yeah, the
guy,
weapons officer.
the weapons officer. This guy is the helmsman. He's going to be another commander, but really, he's actually an agent of Section 31.
Okay,
So all the real Star Trek nerds are suddenly going like, wait a second, there's a spy thing going on here. Then there is because you can't have just all dudes, there has to be the girl next door who's really good looking, but is not like too good looking. What she's there for, I don't know. She's like the Uhura character. She's there to be female, to be a plot where they're flirting with her, to help character development. And then lastly, I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it. There has to be a ridiculously good looking alien chick. You could pick whatever species you want her to be. She has to be like 7 of 9 level of good looking. That's what she is. She's there to be a plot point, to add character development, but also to keep the male attention of the show. Okay. Let's be real. We're making this up, just
yeah,
putting together things that will keep Star Trek people watching, keep men watching. And so you got the Kirk-like character, The person who will get the old guys back in, who's descended from McCoy, he is a McCoy. The Vulcan with the Section 31 thing, which the real fans will be like, what's going on with Section 31? And then, of course, these two women who are beautiful and are helpful to the show. Then now I made the instructors. Now, remember, in the first season, when the Klingon Empire and the Federation fall out, so, of course, one of the teachers in Starfleet Academy, he is a Klingon. And, of course, he's going to be the most stereotypical Klingon that there is.
No skirts?
He's going to, oh, no skirts. He's going to be their combat and tactics teacher. That's what he does. He's on loan from the Klingon Empire. He is aggressively Klingon. That's what he does. And so when the Klingon Empire declares war on the Federation, it adds all sorts of tension right there, because here's this professor who's been training them, and his country is at war with theirs, and he's there. Imagine how that works out. The next one, they're a person who's teaching, them to be like Kirk, them to be like Picard. Of course, again, he's another Vulcan. And now you think, how can a Vulcan teach you commanding skills? They're all by the book. And of course, his spin is he is by the book until he's not. And so you don't expect him to be as wily as he really is, because he will throw the book at you and he will make you do it right every single time. But when it's time for him to do it, the book is as if it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And so when they're on missions in the second and the third season, when they're actually fighting the Dominion, because what happens is eventually all these students will have to be put in the service to fight the Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be their captain. And all the things he was teaching in class in the first season, he's not doing. In fact, he's a fox as far as a commander. And the other teacher, and I stopped here because this felt like it was getting too nerdy. Their science teacher is a Betazoid female who you could describe as plain or boring. So Betazoids are supposed to be very attractive, and of course the spin on this is that she's not at all. But the reality is why she's so plain and uninteresting is because she is the connection to Section 31 in the Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
So the Vulcan character, and he doesn't know who else, but he knows he's one of them. They interact with her, and she gives them things to do for Section 31. They don't realize that Section 31 is either taking over the Academy or is using the Academy for their own purposes. So there's a sub-Section 31 plot line underneath everything, in which, they're not the good guys and they're not the bad guys, but they're the Federation's guys.
Right.
So that's going on in the background. Now, season 2 happens, and things escalate. It gets worse. The Dominion War is going on. They're doing more missions. The hotshot Kirk-like guy, he's really good at what he does, but he's so good that he's getting reckless. Mm-hmm. Season 3 happens. At the end of season 3, you have to have some huge character development. And so the last episode of season 3, the McCoy character dies. And now this character, like the real McCoy wasn't supposed to be liked. McCoy just took off. And so this character has been awesome. He's just a hero in every sense. He's the man's man. He's every man's man. He is somebody you could depend on. The last season, it looks like, so we either chicken out and don't kill him, but we make it look like he's dead. Or we actually kill him. And what happens is the Kirk-like character cannot save his friend. And the development that he needs to change happens as a result. Because of his failure, his friend, a McCoy, dies. And then what's that do to the fan base? We lost Bones once and we lost him again.
Kobayashi Maru.
And then
every time.
And then what happens is season 4 happens, and the first episode you're thinking, is he really dead? And he doesn't come back. And then depending on how we go, we could chicken out and bring him back in the last episode of season 4. Or we can just, be brave and keep him dead. And
could have been a Section 31 cover-up.
So what we would do is you have it exactly right. You can have the Vulcan candidate. Maybe he does take him into Section 41, 31, and we know that as the viewers, but the cast don't know that. You can do that. You can just go on and on and on and just put those plots in there as far as that sub point. But as the Dominion War drags on, you start seeing the Federation start to limp and fall apart, and because the Dominion War, billions of people died.
Yeah.
And so imagine you're trying to
Yeah.
become a Starfleet officer, and instead of getting regular training, your training is on deck. And you're on ships where you're not on a sovereign class. Most ships aren't sovereign class. Most ships are little dinky things that they just have to do it. And they're battling like the Jem'Hadar, and they're out in the fields. Like a lot of people died. And so part of the series would be them running rescue missions because Betazoid they have to abandon. Because the Jem'Hadar and the Dominion take over Betazoid right away. So imagine they are with this Section 31 professor who's like things they have to do. They have to go there as they're losing these planets. And just you can continue to use your imagination. That's my series. Season 5, the war is over, and they're mustering out into their new jobs again and just recovering. And that's the end of the show. And then the series could go on where maybe these guys are sent out to different ships. Maybe if we bring the McCoy character back, he's not dead, but he's changed.
Yeah.
The Kirk-like guy is changed. And maybe the Vulcan helmsman really descends into the dark, where he really gets into Section 31 as a result. Or maybe after the Dominion War, they got something from the Dominion they never knew about before. And there's a whole plot there. So there you go. There's how I would do it. I would make it so it starts as a plucky school life, starts to descend down the toilet as the war kicks up. And then effectively, though they're technically an academy, they're, there's no time for school when you're losing a war.
Yeah.
So that's how I wrote the series. That's how I would go with it. Ignore the Burn storyline. Ignore it. Bring it back to so you can have cameos from real, like from Next Gen, from Voyager, from Deep Space Nine, to keep the fans happy, but also tie in some of the old stuff from the original series, and have some things that Section 31 people love that. Like that's a cool undertone. You can do so much with the dark spycraft stuff. The tension of the Empire or the Romulan Empire, doesn't the Romulan Empire go to war with the Federation temporarily as well during the Dominion War? Or how
remember.
The Klingon Empire does.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like when the Khitomer Accords collapse, when you have Klingon students at the school?
Right.
Or what happens when Section 31 is maybe not exactly helping the war in the way that you think they should.
Right.
Or using technology that is not allowed to be used. And so what does a Vulcan do when he has to be gray and not black and white? So it's a fun, that's how I came up with it. I think it's a fun way to do it. So my goal was to make something a fan would actually want to watch.
Yeah.
Not a DEI story hour.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty cool actually. So I'll give mine real quick because I know the next segment's yours, so I'll give you time to catch your breath. But basically I went off the line of Paramount came to me and said, you have to go with the Burn story. So I took it as what I would do is, after the Burn, the Federation is recovering, they were cut down like everybody else was. So it takes place on board a ship where you have basically a command crew and then you have the cadet crew, and the cadet crew is learning as they go, and they're having to really perform double duties because they're trying to rebuild the fleet. So one of the things I came up with was, I don't know if you remember, in Enterprise, they showed the future of the Enterprise J, which was a futuristic Enterprise. Well, at this point in time, Enterprise J is old, but they would pull it out of mothballs, reservice it, and that would be the ship that they're on. And the Enterprise J has some technology that was considered futuristic at the time, state of the art, and they're going to try to redevelop some of that technology in order to have an alternative method of propulsion besides warp drive. So that's going to be part of it. Is they're trying to work on that. At the same time, they're being dealt with situations that because the Starfleet is low on numbers, they have to go on missions and stuff that they otherwise wouldn't be doing. So the cadets are thrown into, these situations. I even thought about making the doctor the captain because in Voyager he
Hmm.
had a command program. I thought, well, I'll finally give him his own ship. He'll be in charge of the ship, and then his first officer would be some young, driven, probably a girl, young, driven girl, like a Commander Shelby type of person who looks before she leaps and is super driven and has to be kind of held back a little bit and is brilliant enough to drive him nuts because he's a hologram and he's smart and all that stuff. So that's kind of the thing I ran with. I didn't get as detailed as you as far as doing seasons and stuff, but um I thought if I was told I had a gun to my head, you have to do this. That's how I would approach it. Um and I certainly wouldn't have, the kind of junk that we're seeing in the show that's there. And I would try my best to make it as Star Trekky as possible, something that
Yeah.
people want to watch. So that's my take. That's my take.
Well,
But
see the thing that you and I had in common. I'm saying this while I pull up my stuff here. Is we want to develop a show that fans actually want to watch.
yeah, because we're fans and we
Um,
want something that fans would enjoy. I mean, that,
when I was thinking of War is a fun storyline,
yeah,
Spycraft is an interesting storyline. Those things are things that people could get into, and then
yeah,
using things like Section 31. The people who care about the deeper lore, that they'll eat that up.
yeah,
And you have somebody like Kirk being, this is something my wife and I talk about. You and I've talked about it too. You need a guy. I think you need a male character who is a boss.
yeah,
Somebody who is Picard was a interesting experiment in main character that worked.
yeah,
Kirk is a tried and true main character that always works. You
yeah,
know, why Picard worked was because he ended up being a cocksure aristocrat. He's like, the Federation is right. The end.
right.
Picard works because he's a cowboy.
Kirk, yeah, Kirk works as a
And
cowboy.
the same thing,
Riker was
Riker's the
kind of
same
like
way.
Kirk too. Riker
Yeah.
was a little more subdued, but he was more, taking the chances when he had the command and stuff. So he kind of helped balance out Picard a little bit too. But yeah, I
But
mean, you got to have that. That's what people want, and
yeah.
that tells a good story. So
And you have like a Picard's character's like the British Imperial officer who goes, "No, this is the way we're doing it. I don't care what you think."
yeah,
And
yeah,
Riker and Picard are yippee-ki-yay, let's go. And those are the one trope I just worked out somehow. And the other trope, of course, is just one that always works out. You want a guy who's a man's man, and they ended up both
yeah,
being men's men in totally different ways. You need
yeah,
a character that's a man's man. I think probably the Kirk is a safer and easier one to write. He's confident, is good, and is good in like a Captain America kind of way.
yeah,
And I picked McCoy because I don't know what they've done with anything to do with the McCoy family. When I tell you I got into it, I got so nerdy. I was saying like, so what happens when somebody asks him McCoy? That sounds familiar. He's like, oh yeah, like they say the real McCoy. He always brushes it off because McCoy's famous.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
then like McCoy is that as in he's like as in Hatfield's and McCoy. He doesn't want to bring it up, but
yeah,
they're like, well, you're a medical officer. Like, yeah, well, it's just fitting because of my name, I guess.
yeah.
And the reality is that no, he is one of the descendants. I did that because I thought the fans would want something like that. Wouldn't you want that come back? So it's a nod to the original series. And
Yeah.
I don't think they use Vulcans enough.
They certainly don't use them properly in Starfleet Academy. That's for sure.
Oh well, they're not there
So,
basically.
But
And are the
yeah,
Romulans part of Starfleet, the Federation, at this time?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen anything
Because
about
they have
that.
that one girl who is a Romulan, the Asian girl who's a Romulan in the War College. Like
Well, they have the one that's a Vulcan who doesn't act like a Vulcan. So I
they
don't know.
have, yeah, but the one girl in the War College, she's a Romulan.
So maybe they are members now.
Is
I
in
don't know.
Picard is the Romulan? It's not the Romulan state at that point. That's what they call it at that point, right? Because it's
So
collapsed.
so in Star Trek canon though, Spock is the one that reached out to the Romulans and eventually brought peace, but I don't know if they actually ever joined the Federation. But it's possible they did. Because I know that's it's part, and that's even part of the Picard storyline,
Yeah,
um, as well. They carry that out, but it started in Next Generation when Spock was an ambassador to Romulus, and they even carry that story in. They even make reference to it in Strange New Worlds. There's an episode at the end of season 1 where you see Future Pike, and he talks about that because something
hmm.
happens, and you'd have to watch. I don't want to spoil it for you. You have to watch the episode. It's really good.
We're working through it.
But yeah, you'll see it, and they make reference to that too. So that's in Star Trek canon, and so yeah, it's very possible that they whether they join or not, that they're part. They're friendly anyway at that point. So
Yeah, it's something else where I don't know where they're going on there. But anyway, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking lean
yeah,
into the fan base, lean into this is I think would solve every TV show. Just do things that are awesome.
yeah, do things that
Like,
people want to see. They
yeah,
use what has worked before.
yeah.
What built
Like
the show. Keep going
I
with
want
that.
somebody to smile because they're like, hey, yeah, you know what? A Section 31 or the a war that a character that we know, people are gonna be like, I want more of that.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not gonna want Jaden in the skirt or Sam breaking the fourth wall. They're gonna want
Nope.
like a real McCoy,
Yeah,
Kirk like character, a Vulcan doing Vulcan things, and then of course you could do some experimenting. That's that's fun, but honor and go ahead. See, I don't have you heard of what's called the mantling strategy?
no.
Okay, so the mantle is you don't need to be the character, you need to have the credentials. So, for example, Captain America is Steve Rogers. He's always Steve Rogers.
Hmm.
Um, and in the comic, Steve Rogers dies or disappears. You have his sidekick Bucky take over, or Sam Falcon take over, but only temporarily. And then Steve Rogers comes back alive because comic books are just soap operas.
Yeah.
What Disney and other companies did was they invented the mantling idea, which is, well, what matters is the name, not the person who bears it.
Oh, okay.
And so, well, anyone can be Captain America. Like, but can anyone be Captain America? Well,
Yeah.
no, they can't be. Can anyone be a Skywalker? No, Rey can't be a Skywalker.
No.
She is
The Palpatine.
she's not real, okay? Rey is not part of the real canon. I don't care what people say.
She was a nightmare that Luke Skywalker had one night. That's
Yeah.
all.
Oh, I had dream anyway. Yes, so Rey can't be a Skywalker. She has almost single-handedly made me think the Empire did no wrong. I'm almost
Yeah.
unironically thankful for Palpatine. He seems to have gotten they should just let him win. Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, again, you could fix Star Wars by just making Thrawn, bringing him in, and letting him go crazy. Just let him be bad
Yeah.
and capable, and let him push the New Republic to the brink.
Yeah.
And have them respond. Keep the rebellion. Don't have the rebellion become what it did, which had like stupid little factions. Break them all the way down. That's what you do. You torture the characters. That's
Yeah.
why you have McCoy die and have the Picard character watch him. Oh yeah, you failed. Your friend is dead. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like have Thrawn like literally break the back of the Empire of the Republic and see how they respond. And just have fun with it. Just that's too much. You can't do that. It's I don't know why.
Well, speaking of having fun, we're not going to have fun watching the next episode, but we're going to
Did you look
episode
into it?
6. We're going to review episode 6 next week. So pray for us because we need all the prayers that we can get. And
So
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna
I'm
be
ready when
fun.
you are, by
But
the way.
let's move on to our next segment here. All right.
All right. So we're talking about prayer there. You ended up praying for us about this show. So I have been at my church right now, we're doing a year of prayer. And so I'm teaching on prayer every Wednesday until the end of the year. There might be some things that come up, but I wanted to get into one verse in particular tonight. I'm just going to be quick about this one, which is in Philippians chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. And I'll probably just do that little section 4, 5, 6, and 7. But the chief verse here is Philippians 4:6, which says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known to God." So, Ken, did you know in English that if you have a double negative, it makes a positive? In Greek, which is what the New Testament is written in, a double negative makes a super negative.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't negate, it multiplies. And so when it says, do not be anxious, the do not is one of the strongest, it's not the strongest, but the second strongest negation in the Greek language. So do not be anxious about anything. That command right there is a command. You and I are not to be anxious. So right now, I cracked my tooth the other week and I feel like I'm worried, am I going to have to get it pulled? I'm looking at the prices of root canals, $3,000 plus dollars.
Yeah.
And like, I can't afford to drop $3,000 right now. And I'm worried, just worried. And so when I start needing to pray, I look in this, it says, do not be anxious. That's a command by God. So when you're praying, this is what it teaches you to do. It does this in this place of anxiety. It says this, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So when you pray, it says in everything. So when you pray, you can pray about literally everything. Let your request be made known to God. Ken, do you ever, maybe this is just me, do you ever feel like you waste God's time on some of your prayers? Like, I shouldn't pray to help find my keys. Or God's got more things to do than worry about where I put
Yeah. I think about that sometimes. Yeah.
And the reality is that when it comes to prayer, some people I find fall in one of two categories. They either are like, I'm not gonna pray for like a parking spot, or oh, this is too much. I'm not gonna bother God. Like, I can't bother him. Like, I'll be all right. And they don't trust him with the big things, or they don't trust him with the small things. And so when it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, whatever you do, no matter what, you can pray for anything. So for example, my wife, she I got a couple of kids. You know that, Ken. This is for everyone who's listening. And one of the things she does when she's pregnant is she, of course, does not want to walk halfway through a parking lot. I've never been pregnant. I'll never be pregnant. Men can't get pregnant, guys. This is a Christian podcast. If you think men can get pregnant, spoiler alert, it ain't happening.
Nope.
You have a mental disease if you think men can get pregnant. Anyway, she, of course, rightfully is like, it's very uncomfortable to be pregnant. I don't want to walk forever. And so she'll literally go, Lord, please let there be a parking spot close to the store. Say we're at the grocery store. And she prays for a grocery store parking spot that's right up on the store. No problem. Prays for something that I would personally find, and I've had to get over this. Like God's got better things to worry about than me getting a better parking spot, you know?
Yeah.
And the reality is that God actually doesn't. God's a good father who loves his children, who cares just as much about a parking spot as he does like healing somebody from cancer.
Mm.
Why? Because he's God. He is not limited like us, where he can't do 10 things at one time. He could barely do one. No, he's a God who could do everything at one time. He's a God who's literally managing the whole operation of the universe and also cares if you lost your car keys.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so it says, let your requests be made known to God. Again, there's not like a caveat in there that says your big requests, your actually really good requests, the things that actually are matter. It just says, let your requests be made known. And what does it do? He wants you to do that. He comes to you with prayer and supplication. That's what you're to do. Come to him in prayer and supplication. Supplication is basically prayer, the word prayer again. And so they're saying with prayer and prayer,
Mm.
God wants you to talk to him. Ken, have you told your wife that you're not going to talk to her tomorrow? Just, you're too tired to have a conversation with her. And you decide, hey, you go, hey, honey, I'm not going to talk to you today. How would that go down at your house?
Well, she would be disgusted with me, I'm sure, and when I don't talk to her, she thinks I hate her. So, but I don't. But yeah, it's it's funny too because you asked that question. I'm not a talker.
Yeah.
It's like, so when I don't say anything, she thinks I'm mad at her. Like, no, I'm just not talking. But I get where you're going with it because yeah, it makes it sound like I'm not. If you don't talk to anybody ever, then it's like you don't care. You're not interested. And that's one of the things that honestly that I deal with where I know I don't pray enough because again, it's like I don't talk. Um, so and that's a bad habit all around. It's a bad habit. And sometimes I'll have something going on and I'm like, and then I pray about it and then God answers it. I'm like, why didn't I just pray about that before? Why didn't I think about
Yeah.
doing that? And I get caught up in the moment. I got to fix this problem, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm beating myself over the head. And then I realize I haven't even prayed about it.
Yeah.
It's like my reaction. I always do that. And I'm glad you brought this passage up because the where it says be anxious for nothing,
Yeah.
that's an encouragement to me because I am naturally an anxious person. So it's like
Yep.
that tells me it's possible for me not to be anxious. If God commands it, that means he expects it, which means it's possible not to be anxious. So,
Yeah.
you know, I find that passage encouraging.
Well, and you look at, I don't know if you have it, you're looking at it right in front of you, but it says, do not be anxious for anything about anything. But in verse 5, right before it, it says, the Lord is at hand. The
Yeah.
Lord is at hand. You and I are just called to talk to him. That's all he wants us to do.
Yeah.
If I decided not to talk to my wife, it hurt our relationship. If you decided to not talk to your wife, and why would I say I use our wives in particular? Because women are very vocal creatures. They love to have interaction. They want to know us. They want to know what we do. They want to know what we think, and they want to know every facet. Men are vocal creatures, but just very differently. Sometimes our lives are like a dialogue that happens over time. We don't like verbally dump everything at one shot. Like
Right.
you don't probably go and give her a shopping list of how your day went all the way through. You probably reveal it as it comes out naturally. That's kind of how men are. We're not just, I mean, some men are just like, I did XYZ at the end, and that's like everything they did. But it comes out over time.
Yeah.
Women, on the other hand, here's everything I did all day. Some women are like by the minute, which is great. That's just how God made them. But we are to have communication. So by everything, by prayer and supplication, we're to constantly be in interaction with our Heavenly Father. And
Mhm.
this is a key with thanksgiving. When you pray, come with thankfulness. But know this, let your request be made known to God. And I love this because you're talking about anxiety. The next verse is, and the peace of God, and this verse lives in my mind, which surpasses all understanding.
Mm-hmm.
God surpasses all understanding. So the peace he gives you reflects his character, will
Yeah.
guard your hearts and your minds, because he knows that sometimes our brains, our thoughts betray us in one way and our emotions betray us in another. He'll guard them. If God's your guard, nothing's getting by it. So
Yeah.
with your reasonableness, know the Lord. Paul repeats himself here. This whole section of scripture, by the way, Paul is in jail when he's writing this.
Mm-hmm.
He is in jail. He's in Caesar Nero's household. Caesar Nero is a dictator who was perverse. He had his own mother executed. He made a horse into a senator, which, because he was Nero, he was Caesar, no one could tell him otherwise. I think to call him a pedophile would be a tame word to call him what he really was.
Mm.
He was a gross, evil, wicked man. And Paul is in prison, in this gross, evil, wicked man's prison. And he's saying, don't be anxious for anything.
Yeah.
That tells you what you're to do when you're to pray. Go to the Lord in prayer. Don't let anxiety rule you. And what did he do? This man who could have, and Nero did have Paul killed he beheaded him. Not at this situation, but a later situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this Caesar's household. He's in a jail cell at the palace or nearby. He's literally chained to Roman soldiers by the hands. And at that time, you had to pay to be in jail. And if you didn't pay to be in jail, you'd starve to death or they'd kill you, whatever they were found more economically feasible. And he's saying, while in jail, go to God in thanksgiving. Talk to him. Let your reasonableness be made known to him. That's in verse 5 before it. And he'll say this, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This man is literally next to guards. And he's thinking, and God's guarding me.
Yeah.
Go to the Lord in prayer. God will guard you and protect you. Don't be afraid to do it. Talk to him. He is, the Bible says, a good father. He wants to do it. What is it? If you're not sure what to pray for, there's lots of things to pray for. Pray his will back to him. Hey, God, your will is that none should perish but have everlasting life. God, help me have life abundantly. Help my loved ones have life abundantly. There's lots of things to do. But yeah, I didn't think of what you were going to say, Ken, but it's just great. If you're an anxious person or you're a worrier or you just are you're a control freak, I got to have things my way. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to go to him and give him your needs and your desires. He wants to have them. He wants to know them. He wants to know you. And that's really what I want to go tonight.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to pray, y'all. It's truly.
It's a great passage for sure. And yeah, we can go back. I run that passage through my head a lot, and it's a great encouragement.
Well, Dave, if anyone's looking for a church, I'm preaching through Philippians every week for the next 28 weeks, more or less.
Yep.
At Bee Ridge Baptist Church, 10:30 on Sundays. You're welcome to join me. Am I allowed to shill for my church? I think so.
Sure.
Right?
Why not? Why not? So yeah. Let's and we will convene back here next week. Is it next week? Yeah, next week, the same time, same channel. We're still on that.
Yep.
And we will review episode 6 of Starfleet Academy and whatever else we have to bring to you. You can stay tuned and watch that. And don't forget to like our channel and leave comments, questions, all that good stuff. We'd be happy to.
Hey, warning to everybody out there, Valentine's Day is literally Saturday.
That's right. It is.
Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Ladies, what's your plan? What are you cooking? That's who we have to tell, right? It's the ladies who need to do something for Valentine's Day, not the guys.
Or where are you taking me for Valentine's Day? Where are you taking me? So,
like,
what are you buying me?
What is Ken getting for Valentine's Day? I saw
Yeah.
it at the local grocery store that roses were $14.99 for 6. So I don't know what color Ken prefers, but hey, keep an eye
Heck,
out. How much are DeWalt batteries going for these days?
yeah, they're expensive. They are expensive.
What are you
But
doing? Oh, what is this? I'm making a pink heart shaped pasta, and I made strawberry cupcakes. See this? See
nice.
this? I'm going out tomorrow to get little gifts for a child for Child and Rory. See, ladies, this is why I warned you that this is coming up. What are you doing for the man in your life?
That's right. I'm gonna get beat, but that's okay. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Good night,
Good
Dave.
night, everybody.
We'll see you next week.